ready to get us live online.
Oh,
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. What a beautiful afternoon we're having today. A little cloudy outside, but you know what? That's not going to stop us from doing the things that we do. This is DJ Ron G on WSAN Radio, and we have a very important guest today on our show. Um, I've been knowing this lady for a little bit. I'm not going to lie and say I don't know how long, and I think she's been stalking me for getting her on the show and no, she hasn't. She came up talking to me one day, and I think everything was so positive on what she was saying that I had to get her on the show because she's got a lot of things going on, not only for herself, but for the city of San Antonio. But we brought her on today to talk about her, to talk about her and the things that she's doing and the business that she in. I am so. I started reading your bio on all the things you had going on. You've been a little busy out there, haven't you?
just a little bit. Just a little bit.
You know, Pennie is the CEO of Pennie Owens LLC and the creator of Truly You Leadership System. Man, when I seen that all in caps with a period next to everything on there, I said, this girl is for real. She's not yelling at you. As they say, you put things in caps. They think people yell. No, she's expressing herself saying, hey, you need to check this out. I looked at it and said, hey, this is something we need to know about. So, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate being here. I'm like, okay, you're just gonna tell on me to start the show? Stalk you just a little bit, just a little bit.
I, was,
Research.
I had to
I
throw
said,
that
but
in there.
you are correct. Our first encounter wasn't too long ago, but the conversation was smooth. It was easy, and I like your character. And I don't even like to use the word character because that sounds like it's made up. But you for real, you are for real, and as real as they come. And I really appreciated that. So yes, forgive me if I was wondering where Mr. Ron G was because I'm like he's doing some good things. I need to see where he's at. I need to connect with him. So yes, I'm glad that we finally got to connect again. It's easy, and thank you for that lovely introduction. I am Pennie Owens of Pennie Owens LLC, and it is a leadership, empowerment, and personal development consultancy. I do this with. It's been a long time coming. It's
Mm.
been a long time coming. As you read, I have been through a lot of things, and I'm busy. I am busy, but it's all in my purpose. It's in my within my power, and I'm just happy to be here. So it's not work. Everything that I'm doing is not work. I use my Truly You leadership system, and yes, each letter stands for a different step. It's a 9 step system to empower you personally and professionally on a cellular level so that you don't have to keep going back and forth trying to figure out what's wrong. What is wrong? And I do it through consulting and quarterly empowerment over sacrifice workshops. And I transform the culture of leader through purpose driven leadership. I help
Mm.
my clients align with their authentic purpose, who God created them to be, not just their idea of what it is that they want to be when they grow up, but who God actually intended and created them to individually be. And I help them through workplace transitions, work life imbalance, and trauma. A lot of us we become like content in who we are, especially when we feel that we're successful, and we tend to leave those cobwebs in the back of our mind as if somebody else is going to clean it out. I come in person and to the office and in your face, and I help
Ooh.
you clear out and sort those things that are keeping you where you are and keeping you from being your best self your full purpose and that next level. I'm there to expedite the process, and I use that T.R.U.E.L.Y system to do that.
So,
I remember when I was younger,
mm-hmm,
I would walk around through like the spaced out conversations of like, what was it, like family time? My family was in different parts of the country, so when we met up, it was spaced out. But I remember walking through as a little girl, overhearing their conversations, and between wisecracks, back in the day conversations, sarcasm over the
mm-hmm,
card table, I never actually heard them say anything serious or of substance. And I remember even being young that something was missing. I was wondering what was going on.
yeah,
And that lack of serious conversations, it turned into curiosity that I couldn't turn off. And when I became an adult, I started asking some questions about everything that gave my mind some, some curiosity. I wanted to know what some answers. And I realized that the adults that I was raised to believe were okay, they weren't, that they weren't.
yeah,
And time again, I was reminded that adults don't speak whole truths, that they cope with what's inside, they don't speak out loud just so they can continue on with the life that doesn't wait for them. And I realized that that unveiled reality, it wasn't just with my family, it was everywhere. I started to see that truth in all the adults around me. As I became an adult, I even saw it within myself. And I started to figure out that, okay, there's something to it. There's a lot of us not talking about the things that we should be expressing. And it's a bigger problem because we're carrying it on moving forward. So for myself, I started doing the inner self work, asking those deep questions, like that inner deep searching. And I committed myself to clarity and truth. Now, with that, I was determined not to just do that for myself, but for everyone. I mean, I really realized that those unknown variables from those questions that weren't getting answered or those discussions that weren't being said, that it was keeping me from being who God created me to be.
you
Like
know,
I was unable to see my worth and my gifts
yeah,
and my passions. And I know that these generational coping mechanisms and societal conditionings, it's not just happening to me. We're all going through it. Every
you,
last one of us.
yeah, I'm gonna back up a little bit. I want to back up and ask you something. You already started talking about your personal journey, and,
Mm-hmm.
and I like that, but a lot of people don't know. If you don't mind, the question I'm gonna ask, I don't think it's too personal, but
Anything.
Pennie, you have overcome incredible challenges in your life, including blindness, disability, even a brain tumor. How have that shaped your way approaching leadership and empowerment today?
Well, thank you for asking. Now, it was several brain tumors, and how it helped me, it helped me to put things into perspective. Like, no one wants to go through anything negative and bad. You don't. But there are lessons that you cannot learn unless you go through it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to actually go through the trauma, and it gives you a different type of just gratefulness to the problems you don't have, as well as appreciating where you are and what you're able to do. And that's what it did for me. When my health, I mean, I had a diagnosis for every single piece of me, like from the head to the floor. Every part of my body had a different diagnosis, and I confused many specialists and doctors. They just, I don't know, I don't know.
Mm.
So for me, I just want to appreciate every single day. I had young children when it first started crashing. I was going through a divorce. I didn't live here. I was in another state, and I was by myself. I'm like, I need to do something, but what I'm not going to do is sit here and depressed and cry about what's not going on. I'm going to pick up my boots and I'm going to take care of these babies, and I'm going to do and live my life to the fullest with the time that I have. So it actually gave me freedom. When my body started crashing, it taught me how to say no, and I had not known how to do that before.
Wow.
It made me appreciate really being intentional about everything. Like the grocery store became the field trip for my kids. Every time we went somewhere, we were spelling out things and talking really elaborate and asking very imaginative questions. And I made sure that I played with them and the adults, because adults are just big kids. We don't work really hard. We work really hard so we can quit and play and retire. You know, I stopped taking everything so serious. I'm like, if it's not for me, then I don't want it. I'm going to make sure that every day is fun, and let me just show up and see what God has planned today. So I never focused on what was wrong. I'm like, if the doctors gave me any type of time or answered any questions, I was just happy to have somebody looking. It gave me clarity versus me wondering what was going on. Okay, you're dizzy because your sugar's dropped. Okay, you're overstimulated, and it's because you're very, very sensitive to your environment. I was just happy to have some type of answers. I didn't care that it was possibly leading me to my death. I just prepared for it. I've had a will since I was 19. My first marriage, that's one of the first things that I told him. You need to be prepared to take care of these kids because I won't be here. So I lived my life intentionally and made sure that I enjoyed it. And then when it came down to it, when I tried to avoid the second round of brain tumors, but I had to go because they were getting bigger, I was like, okay, so now we're down to the finish line. What are you going to do? And it was the first time that I actually asked myself, what do you want? And what do you want if you don't die? Never thought about that. I lived life so
Mm.
intentionally and never actually planned on being here. But God had presented a moment for me to actually think about it. You pray for everybody else, but you never asked for me to heal you. You thought you were going to die, but what if you don't? Who told you that lie? And I was like, well, shucks,
Mm.
I never thought about that before, Lord. What you mean? And he's like, well, yeah. If I keep you, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to see my babies graduate. I want to help as many people as you put in front of me. And I want to live this thing fully till the wheels fall off. Like, let me put my seatbelt on. And
Mm-hmm.
God said, well, so be it. Because I have plans for you. I never told you that. Your illness, you accepted, but you never questioned. So I learned through the whole experience that questions are good. Don't just settle for the things that you know and that you feel aren't right. And to give yourself a chance because God wants to do more with you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, shucks, let me put my seatbelt on. Okay, we're going to go ahead and have the brain surgery and we just going to see what happens.
There
And
you
when I
go.
tell you, Mr. Ron, when I had that surgery, it was like he hit the reset button because
Mm.
the doctors were still confused and they actually left the tumors intact and closed me up like, if I do anything else, you're guaranteed you're going to go blind and I don't want to do that. So tumors intact, close me up. We're going to just leave you alone. And it's like everything got a reset button. I'm the healthiest I've been my whole life.
Wow. So,
So I plan on using these legs.
yeah. So, what was the turning point that inspired you to create your own leadership system?
It was through I during that time period when God was teaching me how to be alone and by myself and to ask more questions, he led me to actually go back to school for my bed. So I was in a bed and I started to learn about how life coaching and things of that nature. And the people around me at that time, I was always helping my friends. I was always the house to go to. All the cookouts and the holidays were going to be at my house, and all the kids were going to be there. So I've always had people around me, and they were the ones that told me, wow, you always answer my questions. You always have a different perspective. That you should do this on purpose. And God led me to go back to school and to continue that where, yes, you're talking for a reason. So let's do more. And one of my genuine friends, I was just helping her out. I was helping her throughout a time period of her life for a year. And she told me, you know what, you need to do this for a living. And you've helped me from a very, very dark place. And the place that I'm going, I want you with me. And I'm going to pay you for it. I never thought about it. I
Mm.
had never thought about doing anything else. I just wanted to be alive and there for my kids. Like that was it. That was the cap for me. But that
Yeah.
was the first time for me to think bigger than myself. And most of us do that. You think of yourself in just one small box and you don't really think about what it looks like to other people, how you look. But that time it was like, okay, I can do more. So I went to school. I started studying, then I started practicing. It was like, okay, this is something that comes easy. Asking questions, I love. I love listening to people and their stories, and I love making sure that they understand that they are important, that they can do
Mm.
more, and that God is with them. So, yes, let's go ahead and try this out. So, I started doing it, And the people that I started working with, they were of all statures. They were all different nationalities and across the world. And there was one thing that was common. They didn't realize the limitations that they still had within themselves because they were distracted by their positions and the money and their responsibilities. And I kept seeing that and I kept seeing it and I couldn't ignore it. Mr. Gordon, I couldn't ignore it. And it pulled on my heart because I'm like, they genuinely don't understand fully who they are. This is going to bleed over into other areas and we see it. We see in our country right now under our leadership, I won't name no names, but under our leadership, we see what it looks like when someone's in power, but they need to go to therapy. They need to lay down somewhere, go sit in the corner, think about what they've done. It bleeds over and it affects everyone around them and all the people underneath them. I keep seeing this and I'm like, you know what? All right, I started with the youth, I started with the adults because I wanted to help the youth's environment by dealing with the adults. But now the adults' environments need to be changed, and that's leadership. So I immediately shifted. I only spent 15 years is not a couple, but I spent those 15 years were just the adult, and I was like, no, I'm shifting this, I'm changing this, and I'm going straight to the top. Because the leadership, what they do, it trickles down to all the rest of us. So we're not going to waste any more time. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. So we're going to go straight to the top and start fixing and helping and healing them. Because if they are their best selves, then we can be our best selves because the ones who make the rules and create these environments are the ones that's shaping our reality down here as little people. And I wanted to make sure that I spent the rest of my life helping all of us, not just a few.
Which bring me to this next question. You led right into it. I just reeled you in on this one. Many leaders today struggle with burnout and stress. What are some practical strategies that you teach to help them stay resilient?
Easy. Most of our problems, they all start with the first step, which is usually acknowledgement. You can't function in denial or, I'm cool, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm blessed. You can't actually believe that when it's not true. When you actually acknowledge, okay, yes, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, there's a lot going on, I need help. When you acknowledge that, then you can have more assistance, then you can get to real solutions. So the first thing is acknowledgement. My strategies that I teach are all very actionable and easy steps, and they're spiritual driven. That first one, acknowledgement, that's honesty. You need to be honest. If you can't be honest with yourself, you can't be honest with other people. People have imposter syndrome for more than just what they're capable of doing. Maybe they are actually lying to themselves about who they are and what they can do. Maybe that's why you feel that way. I'm just saying. But to help them, I help them create some balance. You have to acknowledge both realms of your life, professional and personal. You can't leave one behind. This is your life. It's a full yin and yang. It's a whole circle and it's connected. It's interconnected. No matter what you choose to deal with or acknowledge. Anything imbalanced is just that. It's imbalance. So I help them to understand what it is that they're doing and to look at it objectively. Like I'll tell people to do a resume for themselves. Write down everything that you know that you've tried to do since you started working and just write it down. And then another one, write down all your roles, who you are, starting with self, sister, brother, child, auntie, uncle, producer, business owner, neighbor. When you get to see what you look like on paper in those different areas, you have a different appreciation of who you are and all that you've done. And you start moving differently. You stop wasting time because you're like, okay, this doesn't serve me. But you also empower yourself to really see, I'm overwhelmed for a reason. I am doing a lot. But it's a blessing. When you're able to do a lot of different things that may wear you out, God trusts you with it. It has nothing to do about your supervisor who sees your talent. Yes, he does want to use you. That's what he's going to do. But it's about what God trusts you with. And that's a blessing. So I teach people to understand acceptance is key. You can complain about what you have, what you don't have, but the acceptance, that part teaches you a lot because, yes, you are doing that. Now what? You know,
Mm-hmm.
now what? What are you going to do with it? Are you going to continue or are you going to quit? Most people would like to continue, and it's easier than they actually think. I help them realize that it really starts with a decision, acceptance, and letting go of anything that's not for you.
Okay. So let's switch gears. Let's talk about impacting the community. Okay? Because I'm talking to you, community is number one. I see it in you, I hear where you talk about it. So let's talk about creating a purpose driven leadership.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like in everyday practice inside a company or community?
It's easy. It's self reflection. If you're not your best self, then how do you think that you're going to be able to prepare someone else to be their best selves? It starts with that honesty. Are you living in your purpose and are you living your full potential? And do you know how? If you don't know how, then your limiting beliefs and biases you're probably going to teach to the community, to your customer, is going to bleed out past you. But is that your intentions? So with leadership, they have to hold themselves accountable. We all should. When you are in a place of influence, you are to be held accountable for how you influence those following you. So you start there. And it simply just looks as self reflection. What it is that you're putting out there, because it causes a ripple effect. If it's negative, there's a ripple effect for that. And if
Mm-hmm.
it's positive, there's a ripple effect for that. Most of the people watching us, we will never know or even hear that they are watching us, but it doesn't mean that they weren't affected by our actions, our thoughts, and what it is that we say and do. So I
Yeah.
make sure that we hold ourselves accountable, and then that bleeds over to the community. And I do that for each person because, in my mind, and it should be in ours, we are all leaders, we are all followers, we are all teachers and students. That status and our job titles, we get, kind of confused or we
Mm.
get comfortable with it, but
Yeah.
that's not how God works. We're all on a very even playing field. You can get the best idea from a child, and you can get the worst idea from the elders. Like it can shift and shake, and
Mm-hmm.
it really doesn't matter, but all of us should be seen and heard. So I make sure that each person understands that, not just with the leadership, but the people in the community, because that's our everyday. We are our environment. It doesn't matter what our titles
Yeah.
are.
So
So I think I bring people back down a little bit.
I'm glad you said that. What you said, you bring them back down because some people get a big head. Some
Mm-hmm.
people think they're on a pedestal. They said they could influence people, but don't get that confused when
Mm-hmm.
influence people or putting things down people's throat. There's two ways of doing that. You can influence somebody by being just as humble as you can be because they look up to you and they respect you and knowing that you're going to be real. Or
Right.
you could talk down to them and let them know you do as I say as I do. Now, with
Oh
that
man.
being said, we're into that currently right now with the current administration. Do as I
Mm-hmm.
say as I do. I know better than anybody else.
Yeah.
That's when you need to cut that cord because they're getting out of hand and out of control. And when that happens, you get people looking at you side eyed in different ways, and you think you that they trust you. No, they looking at you saying they don't want to deal with you anymore, but they're afraid to speak up. That's a topic all by itself right
I
there.
know. Why'd you go there? Now that first thing that you said, that do as I say,
Mm-hmm.
that was a trigger for me in childhood. I knew the questions that I had, they didn't feel like they were stupid questions. I thought they were legitimate questions. I'm wondering what's going on with the adults. Like, I can see that something's wrong, but everyone keeps saying that they're fine. Mind
Mm-hmm.
your business, stay in the child's lane, do as you say, as I say, and not as I do. In my mind, if you tell me not to smoke as you're lighting up, that's contradictory. That's confusing, and I didn't
Yeah.
have to be of an older age to know that that wasn't right. Like that doesn't make any sense. Well, I know better. Really? No. I learned at an early age, and I'm sure this is for most of us. Adults are hard headed, they lie, and they're stuck in their ways. And I could not I could not unsee that. I was determined when I become an adult, I'm going to remember how I was as a child because I knew I wasn't being seen. You should be seen and not heard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's not right. I got plenty of things to say. There's so many things that I want to do and express that I could actually be of some service and help with. But
Yeah.
because you didn't allow me to talk and you didn't answer my questions, it didn't happen. And I'm like, that's how we hinder the next generation from the stuff that we do as adults or from the adults in front of us, what they did to us. And I'm like, no, that cycle stops right here. It
Yeah.
stops. So that is a trigger when they say that. Because I'm like, that's one of the worst things that you can say to someone else. It really is actually narcissistic when you think about it. Just a little bit. But we
Yeah.
don't ask those questions. And I can't, it's really interesting how adults, like you said with this administration, how there's adults, they're still programmed to not ask questions. Have you ever heard this, Mr. Gordon? There was, I don't even remember exactly where I read it, but it was about how they trained elephants for the circus. How those huge elephants, they're several tons, they could hurt you if they wanted to, but they get them when they're little and they tie them to a small, probably like six-inch post. Put it in the ground, they're tied to this post, so that child, that infant elephant, can't move. He's very limited. And he learned at an early age there's no point in struggling because I can't move. They can use that same post when that small elephant becomes a full multi-ton adult. But when he sees that post, why struggle? I can't move. And he doesn't even try.
Mm.
And that happens with us. The things that happen to us when we are younger, we keep as adults, whether we realize it or not. And those small posts that we could just easily rip out as adults until we get curious enough to think about it and actually try, it holds us hostage in the same place of limitation.
Mm.
On a regular basis.
Golly, you triggering my psyche up here on stuff. So, all right, let me ask you this: how does your faith influence your leadership style and the work that you do with executives and organization?
Easy. It influences everything that I do because I know through my faith and with God that everything is possible and nothing can stop you. So I make sure that that is what is taught, that I exemplify that in my own personal life because we're not going to just do as I say and not as I do. No, I
Mm-hmm.
want to be an example. I want to be the living example of everything coming out of my mouth. And I want to express that everything coming out of my mouth is not just about me or mine, that it's about you and what's important to you and what you are created to do. And that's the biggest part. Faith isn't the thing that's unseen. I don't know exactly what you're going to do, but I got my popcorn ready to watch it because I know that with God it's going to be grand. And I
Mm-hmm.
make sure that they understand it, even for myself. You still just a person. I don't care what your title is. I don't care how much money that you make or the people that you influence. I know that you are a person who needs to be heard, understood, loved, and to have peace. The things that God gave us. So until you know that as a whole and you know that God's the one in charge, you look at your boss a little differently. You look at your clients a little bit differently.
Yes.
We are people first, and God is everything. So I use my faith in all parts of it. That's why the T.R.U.E.L.Y system is based off spiritual values. Until you accept the core of who we are and our nature and deal with how God actually created us to be, you're just pretending and stumbling over yourself. You're going to have to repeat a cycle and fix it. You have to deal with who you are on that level and who God sees you to be. So that's where I function from, and that's what the system addresses.
Okay. Now you think I was gonna let you off the hook from the beginning when you told me that truly you stands for something. I was holding back on that one. I'll let you go. And she probably said he gonna ask me about that one. Too late. But it's unique the way you're doing things, and I like the positive energy that you putting out there because you struggled. You went through things that people couldn't comprehend going through. It takes a strong person. I'm gonna cut back on that. It takes a strong black woman like you are to go through the things that you went through, and that resiliency was right there. There was no such thing as giving up, and you
Yes,
didn't.
sir.
And I applaud you for that. And hopefully, what you said today will reach somebody else. But now, get back to my point. Please let us know what Truly You is about.
Okay. Truly You is 9 steps. I break up all the 9 steps within my 4 quarterly Empowerment Over Sacrifice workshops. So they are March, June, September, and December. March workshop, that one deals with the T and the R of the Truly You, which is truly understanding who you are in this moment of time and rectifying any obstacles that are hindering you from the next level. So that's the T and the R. And then in June, I deal with the U and the E, understanding how to balance and control your emotions. And then the E, evaluating all the things that you want now that you actually have looked back and reflect. You have new decisions to make. And then in September, I deal with the L and the Y, listening to your heart. God speaks to you before he speaks to anyone else. That dream is yours for a reason, and it's up to you to bring it into fruition. So you have to listen to what he is speaking to you. I help you do that. And then the Y, yielding to the transformation. When God's trying to pull things out of your hands and you got them full, it's really hard for you to move to the next level. So I help you to yield to the transformation because now that you understand who you are and what he's saying to you, you gotta get rid of some things. Some stuff is not, or some people are not coming with you on the next level. And then the December workshop, I focus on the you portion of the Truly You. The Y is for you holding yourself accountable because only you can stop yourself. O is for observing how others play a very influential role in who you are because we weren't created to have these things for ourselves. We're here to help people. And then the U is for unique. I help expedite and bring all the way to the surface your gifts, your unique gifts. Because there's only one you. You are truly one in a million. And only your voice, your story, your obstacles can help the person that's waiting for you. So that's what the December is a workshop does. So Truly You is spread out throughout the year. And that's why you can get a full transformation in under a year if you attend all 4 workshops because then you would have went through the whole process and the whole system.
Okay. I'm glad you said that. So now, audience, y'all know what it stands for. So I want to ask you something. Trust.
Mm-hmm.
That is such an important part of any relationship, any business, anything. Trust is always there. When you get burned, your trust, you got that guard up. Um, how or when will you trust again? The reason why I say that because I went through that already a couple of years ago.
Okay.
I had trust issues. Anybody coming in with me with the radio station once I got burned, and
Okay.
eventually I started looking up on things, and eventually I turned around and started, doing a lot more or trusting people, doing things with me. Hesitant. I'm gonna use that word, hesitant.
Okay.
And I was hesitant about some things that I do or people helping me. And eventually I learned how to trust again.
Mm-hmm.
I learned how what happened to me, I use that as a learning experience.
Yes.
That's how I use it. I learned from that. And the reason why I'm bringing this up because when we was at Joe Webb Day,
Mm-hmm.
I was wrapping up, and you asked one simple question. You need any help with anything? You notice I hesitated on it. And I said, well, yeah, the chords, and you started wrapping up the chords. You know how much that took for me to have you do things like that? Because I'm particular in the way I do things.
I'm sure.
And see,
And the
realize
chords
people,
you can't play with, you
yeah,
can mess something up.
and people don't realize it could be the littlest thing you gotta trust somebody on. It's not the big things, because like I said, the big things that's coming. It's the little things that people get ticked off about. Why, I don't know. But when you did that, and I just put everything in his bag right here, girl, when I got home, everything, I just put everything back into place and was ready for the next time going out Saturday. And I was all set and went without a hitch. So, trust for me is if I trust you with anything of mine, that means I really appreciate you and like you what you're doing. Because other than that, if you ask me, can I help you with something, I tell you no, I mean no. Because there's something out there that's telling you no.
They know.
You know, because everybody got that sixth sense about things. And I have that sixth sense. And so, but like I said, it wasn't a learning experience for me and learn how to lower my guard down and don't be always hyped on that because all I'm doing is hurting myself. And
Yeah.
I can't do that. I gotta reach out. Anybody offer any help, I say yes. You know,
Unlucky blessing.
you know, so
That's
so
how I feel.
so you
Unlucky
know,
blessing.
so get back about trust. Well, how important is that when you doing things, coaching people, and all that? How important is that trust along with that faith? How important is that?
Trust is very important. It's one of the main things that we look forward to as people before we do anything and make any decisions. But I'm going to let you know that if you have faith, that's stronger than trust because you can't trust people. People make mistakes. They do things and biases and they function out of fear. So when your faith is strong, trust, it comes automatically with you because you bring it and because you trust who you're supposed to, which is God. So I don't walk around trying to trust people. They're capable of anything. That just comes with a part of it. So I accept it. Anything can happen, and all we can do is try. So trust is not one of my initial factors on how I deal with people. You're going to get this, who I am, regardless of what I'm talking to you about, what I'm showing up for. I bring myself fully to the table. What you do with it is on you. Either you appreciate it or you don't. Either you utilize the gifts and the things that I'm trying to share with you or you don't. Either you trust me or you don't. It's 50-50. I don't have time for the game, so I don't worry and waste time on that. That trust issue, I don't have because the one that has to be trust is the Lord. All the rest of us are just people. And I learned that even with trusting people, most of the things that people don't trust people for have nothing to do with you in the situation right now. It's coming from, like you said, something else. It's triggering a memory or something that someone else said or another situation. And the reason that they're not trusting you today has nothing to do with something that you actually did. So I don't take it personal if someone doesn't trust me. There's a reason why they don't trust. It has nothing. But it's for that person to show you, will you be the person that I take a chance on?
Yeah.
And you have to be honest with yourself. Are you trustworthy? Because folks be pop locking and doing whatever they want. You might not be trustworthy, which is why you're okay with me not trusting you. So it just depends. But I don't function in that space, and I try to teach other people to not be in their feelings so much. We walk around with our emotions, and one situation does not dictate the next. So you really have to kind of wake up like, okay, well, who am I going to be today? And am I going to function in a place of fear? And I refuse to function in a place of fear because that's not God's way. And when something happens, and what? Bad things happen. Now what? If they mistreat you, now what?
Yeah.
Life goes on. It doesn't stop because we had an experience. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
So you
See,
just have to choose who you are, keep moving.
when you said that, I remember years ago I went through a social skill class. And I remember bits and pieces of it. Well, I remember all of it, but bits and pieces I remember that really sticks out is when you turn around in the heat of the moment and somebody says something to you, you react. You react. He said, don't even do that because you're reacting off emotions. What you do is take time out, then turn around and respond.
Yes.
And
It is worth responding to.
yes, yes. Which brings up this other question.
Uh-oh.
What advice do you have for any young professional or emerging leader who wants to step into a leadership role with confidence?
Oh, okay. My advice would be do the inner work first. When you know that you are showing up in your full potential with the drive to be your best self every day, then and to be a servant where it's not just about you every day, then that's who needs to be raised as a leader. If you're going to be first, then you will be last.
Mm.
You have to go into it in the mindset of being healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Be a healthy person if you are going to choose the obligation of influencing others because it's not something that you should do lightly. I believe that leaders need to understand that you are influencing someone's life, not just the job title. This is their life. And you are a very impactful, powerful person involved in that. That's not something that you should just think, okay, well, at least this is paying me good and I got some benefits, I'm going to do it. We can see what that looks like already.
Yeah.
Understand the role that you are accepting and that you are teaching and learning for. Understand that you should be healthy and then be your best. Now you can be a leader. That's what I would say. And you'll be confident because you already know. You did all the extra work. You're feeling good. You actually know
Hmm.
who you are and why you showed up in this position. You know what it is that you're supposed to be doing. When you move with that kind of clarity, you can't help but be confident
Yeah.
because it leaves very little voids of you to be unsure and trying to figure it out in real time.
Okay. So, what is next for Pennie Owens LLC? Are there any upcoming events, programs you're especially excited about?
Yes. Now, this quarter's Empowerment Over Sacrifice workshop, the theme is Empowerment in Action. Like I said, this one deals with the last three steps, the you, the observed, and the unique. This one is really special and it's very powerful for transitioning from one year and leaving this year behind, but moving into a new year and the future and what it brings. This one helps to highlight who you are, why it's important for you to show up, and the fact that other people need you and that you don't have to do it alone. A lot of us, we get caught up and we're used to doing everything by ourselves. There's too many people on this planet for us to keep thinking that we have to do it on our own. And this workshop makes sure that not only do you know that, but that you actually move and set up your routine and your schedules and your projects utilizing all your gifts and other people's gifts. It expedites everything. When you use and when you allow other people to bless you and
Mm.
use their gifts, there's so much that you don't have to do, and it's empowering. So for this last quarter, it's December 6th. It's on a Saturday. It's from 10 to 2. It's 4 hours long. It doesn't feel like it. It goes by really fast. But I don't have a location yet, so right now I'm choosing the location because it's an in-person workshop. But I'm looking forward to it. I always have food there because I don't care what nobody says. You cannot think when you have crackers and grapes and coffee and pastries. I like to have real food in my workshops because you think a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? Your thoughts
Yeah,
just sit a little
I hear you.
heavier if
I
you're
hear.
not hungry.
Yeah.
But I also include an e-workbook and a daily workshop habit tracker. I make sure that you walk away with the workshop with everything that you need to do the inner work at home. And the
Okay.
workshop is interactive. There's plenty of real time conversation, and you get to see that implement, and you get to feel, your spirit gets to feel the alignment and the change happening while
Mm.
you're there. But the workshop, or the workbook, and the questions that you take home, it allows you to sort out the different parts of you in private. You know, just in a more intimate setting where you don't know what's going to come up and what's going to come to the surface. And I am
Yeah.
a firm believer that God brings things to you when it's time. I represent an expedited process of transformation. So the things that I stimulate and come up to you, I'm not in control of what it brings out, but it's
Yeah.
coming up for a reason. And I give you the tools to get through it quickly and cheaply. So now you don't have to go to therapy because you got it through the workshop.
Oh, good one, good one, good one. Well, I'm not gonna ask you more questions. That's because I ran out.
I'm
um,
sure we made up something.
you know, so now we're just
Mm,
gonna just talk. This
okay.
this is this is the part of it I call it a rap session. If anybody know about rap sessions, we sit down there and we just talk about what's on our mind and
A
everything. So
rap session, old
yeah,
school. I
that's
love
right.
it.
I'm from old school. Let's have a rap session.
All right. I'm
Because
gonna sit back in my chair. Rap session.
yeah, because
Right.
sometimes we get wrapped up in the questions that we overlook some things. We overlook your style or how you do things. You know, brought that up. We overlook how passionate you are about what you do, and all the other stuff that goes in that mix right there. Because Penny, I'll be honest with you, you are one of a kind. You are unique in the things that you're doing. Me, you talked off camera. You are a type of person that everybody should get to know, and I'm sincere about that because um, you have a lot of knowledge on what you can do, and you also can influence people on things. Um, Believe it or not, because if they sit back and just talk to you and just talk like normal, not talking down, not talking like you above, but just talk to you straight ahead, 101, the real Penny comes out. And to me, the real Penny is the type of person that will give her shirt off her back to you. She's the
Mhm.
type of person that will go out and if you say something without even asking, she'll go out and get that and bring it and say, here you go, without even asking. You know,
It's true.
that's what I see from you. The reason why I said that, I said it the other day we talked. I told Penny, you the male version of me. Because
It's like, is that what I look like with a clean
yeah,
shaven?
you sure would. I'll do it for you. I got clippers over here, but I do the same thing. It was a time that when I was working, this young man worked late. It was on a Wednesday, a day for Thanksgiving. He called me, said he was done already with the job. I said, "You have yourself a blessed Thanksgiving." He said, "I would, but we don't have anything for Thanksgiving." And
Hmm.
and it was on speakerphone. I looked at my wife. My wife looked at me. She knew what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Here's my address. Come on over to the house." I got everything for him for Thanksgiving. I had an extra turkey in the freezer and all that stuff, and gave it to him. The next day, he called me and said that was the best Thanksgiving they ever had.
See,
We
I
don't
love.
do we don't do that enough.
I'm,
And
but you know what else too?
yeah,
There's a lot of people who actually do that, and those are the stories you don't hear.
yes,
Like we're flooded with the traumatic situations and the stuff that's going to make you upset. But there's a lot of people being a blessing every day, and
hmm
we don't hear enough of those stories. We really don't. But it's there.
yeah,
It's there. People do care, and that's one thing that I've seen a lot here in San Antonio compared to the East Coast. There are a lot of compassionate, truly curious people who really just want to help. They really do. And I've not seen it in this abundance in a very long time.
yeah,
But you don't hear those stories. You know, the media has its own motives.
yeah,
So we don't hear those stories, but it is out there. And that's
yeah,
awesome. Just to be a blessing like that
hmm
and to not have the pride to not accept it. Because that's the
yes,
other side of it. Some of us are not used to help. And when somebody does want to offer you help, you'd rather not gamble.
yeah.
You don't want to owe them anything. You don't want this to come with a price. You don't want
Oh,
to, and then you just say no, and you would
yes,
rather be hungry than be blessed. And why?
yeah.
Like, don't do that.
People think you got a motive and you don't. You just want to make sure they have a blessed Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever holiday, or just every day during the week. You be blessed with
Yeah.
something, and there's people out there like their pride gets in their way.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I'm not going to do that. Well, my father before that, we never took anything from anybody. But have your father been in the same shoes that you're in right now?
Right. Mm-hmm.
You must ask that
Exactly.
question because times have changed and things have changed.
Yes. And whatever your father did has nothing to do with you today.
Mm. Yeah.
How does that affect you on this Tuesday? You
Mm-hmm.
still hungry. Your
That's
father
right.
probably has passed on, and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying, just we hold ourselves very loyal to like the memories and everything that's heartfelt. Whether we looked up to that person or we grew up and now we understand why they were so hard on us, and it's like that does not mean you have to repeat it.
Right.
I understand that it helped you get to who you are today, but be real. How happy are you today? I'm just saying,
Yep.
how happy are you today? Just because you can understand it does not mean that you agree with it. And as adults, we do not understand that you get to choose a new day. You get to reset. I wish we upgraded ourselves the way we do our
Oh.
phones and these computers.
Oh. That's a good one.
Because
That's a good one.
we be holding on to some stuff that needs to be let go a long time ago.
You
Most
know,
of us.
I'm turning around. I went through. I got two drawers in here. I throw things in. I just throw things in. I turned around. I was looking for something. I took everything out of those drawers and I looked at everything sitting right there. I haven't used this in 4 years. Why I'm still hanging on to this? What? It's time to let it go. It's time to
Bless
let it go.
somebody else with it. Somebody else needs
Yep. So
it.
I'm glad you did say that because we hold on to stuff that we shouldn't be holding on to.
God trying to give you stuff, your hands all full. It's like, come
Mm-hmm.
on, go, drop it, let it go, so
And
He
it's
can
not.
give you.
And it's not just material things. It comes along with relationships. You
Oh
you're
man,
holding on to something saying it's going to get better. It's been 10 years. It hadn't gotten better. You know.
hey, look, hope is a powerful thing, and
Yeah.
so is denial. Some
Yeah.
things we have a problem accepting things.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we're hopeful in the areas that are very plain and clear.
Yeah.
Like this is what it is. This person was like this when you met, or they showed you early on that this is how this relationship was going to be. Whether that is work, whether it's professional, whether it's personal or intimate. Because we think about relationships, we always think that it's intimate. Every person that you interact with, that's a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a romantic thing. That's not the only realm that that word lives in. You are having a relationship with everyone that you interact with, your neighbors, your family, your spouse, and your coworkers. And they
Mm-hmm.
all should be healthy. But we just have these really closed mindsets, and it really starts from our childhood. It does not matter how old you are. My oldest client is 87.
Mm.
And the changes that got stimulated with her kids were like, Mom, I don't, I mean, I'm really proud of you, but I've never seen you this rowdy. And she's like, I wasted too much time. 'Cause we just hold on to stuff for
Yeah,
years.
we
We
do.
make declarations of one day I will
Mm-hmm.
never, and you hold on to it for the rest of your life and you never go back and reevaluate it, whether or not
Mm-mm.
it's something that you actually currently want to do or not.
Exactly. Oh man, you're right about that because I clean the garage twice a year, and
Oh,
twice a year,
congratulations. Everybody, did you hear that? He said twice a year. Folks don't go back in there for years.
and what I do is I have when I start cleaning it out, I got a tote that maybe. So I throw my maybes in there, and then all the other stuff is not worth it. I throw away, or I pack it up and give it to Goodwill.
See?
Next time around, I do it again. I look at that maybe box bin again. I say, I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. Then I start another maybe one. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's how I've been cleaning out my garage throughout the years. Now I'm down to, good God, you can see the floor and everything in there now. I mean, even my wife this morning, what's that on the floor? I said, that's been there for years. I just now noticed. I said, because it's clean.
Because it's clean.
But those are
That
some
is
things.
awesome.
Those are some things that I put in my mind that I'm doing. And I love working. I can't stay. I gotta stay busy. It's just
Mm-hmm.
in my DNA to stay busy doing things. If I'm not doing nothing for community, I'm sitting there at the house doing something. I'm not doing nothing here. I'm calling my kids, my grandkids. I'm constantly doing something to stay busy. So somebody asked me one time, "How old are you?" I said, "Is there a chair around?" They said, "You may want to sit down." I said, "I am 70." They said, "What?
Really?
You
I would
don't
have
look
lost some money on
70.
that bet.
You don't look
Really?
70." I said, "What's 70 supposed to do?" What you who said that? That's society telling me how I should be acting. Society dictate how you should be acting.
Mm-hmm.
Society should not be dictating to you whatsoever. It's how you feel. My grandkids keep me going. Somebody asked me, "How do you stay young?" I said, "I chase women." They said, "Did that keep you young?" I said, "Yeah, I just can't catch them." So then my wife heard me. She said, "Sit your butt down somewhere."
Cause she already know talking foolishness.
Well, she know how I am,
She's
and
not
all
even
that.
worried. Like you're
Yeah,
fine.
and you know that's just me. I
That's
like I
uh,
said, let don't let society dictate how you are. You
mhm.
you are who you are. If that makes any sense.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense, and that's how simple we want it to be. We want it to be that simple, and we just don't allow it to be sometimes. I
Yeah.
love that you see. That's why you're so healthy, right there. You're busy. You're purging your house on a regular basis, and it clears your mind. All that clutter. When
Mm-hmm.
you see clutter, it affects how you think and how you move. So if your immediate work areas, the areas in your house, if it's full of stuff that just is holding on to old energy,
Mm-hmm.
you're wondering why you feel stagnant.
Yeah.
Knock the dust off some of that stuff and let it go. I love that you separate it and you are a blessing. You don't just throw it away because we're wasteful. But it's important to do that because it gives you when you go back just in the garage with anything, when you go back and touch the things in there, you reintroduce yourself to thoughts and ideas you may have not thought about.
Yeah.
You get to see things that you have surpassed and overcome, and then you get to make a decision. What's next? And it's really important, just for your psyche alone. It's important to do those regular intervals of purging. It's really healthy. And
Yeah.
play is even more powerful. Being busy now, sir. I'm just gonna let you say you look great for Saturday. You are gonna at some point learn how to sit still though, right? Or you just gonna just keep it moving as long
Uh,
as you can.
I don't know, but no, I have slowed down because my body has been telling me, don't be the Al Bundy. I ran 6 touchdowns in high school. I would never stoop down to that level because um, I was out somewhere DJing somewhere, and I was on the trunk on my bed of the truck. My tailgate was down, and so I got up there and I jumped on down and said, "Wait a minute, you just jumped down." I said, "Is that a problem? You know how old you are? I know how old I am. Trust me. My body will let me know when I can't do this anymore. You know,
Right.
I don't go out and do things foolishly. Put it that way. Matter of fact, I would take an extra step not to do something that would endanger myself.
Smarter, not harder. Okay.
You know, so
Being able to is a blessing. As long as your needs show up for work, use them.
mm,
As long as you're, it's not just knowledge. The body for sure. As long as you are using it, then you'll be able to use it. If you don't
mm,
use it, you lose it.
yep,
That's mind, matter, physical, everything. If you are not using it, you will lose it. The gifts, all of that. So it's very important to keep moving and being able to play. Life is it doesn't. The world taught us that life has to be hard.
mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. You should play with everything. Anybody who ever meets me, I'm gonna play with you. And if you too serious to play with, then you just go over there with your serious self. I don't even care.
Sit your
I
butt
don't
down
even
over there.
care.
But
Because it should be fun. There's too many things in life that's already gonna stress us out.
yeah,
It doesn't have to be everything in every situation. I refuse.
yeah. Well, I tell people sometimes when they come in and work with me, and so I say, "Look here, I'm gonna tell you one thing about me. I could be a little, but Um, but I don't mean no harm, but I could be like that. I'm letting you know I could be like that. I'm not gonna hide from that. I don't know why it comes out, but I could be like that sometime. And I let everybody know who's gonna be with me and all that stuff, or who I'm working with, or who I meet. And well, I don't tell them right away. It's as the relationship goes on and we're working closer together and do things. Look here, there's 2 things I need to let you know about. I could be a butt sometimes. And the other thing is, if you ever see me dragging or You see me hold my head or something like that. I'm a type 2 diabetic. That means my sugar level is low. And I always keep a little small can of soda and orange juice with me just in case. And I let
Okay.
everybody know. Anybody who knows me, I tell them that, and they know. And they know. It only happened to me one time being out. I was feeling bad, and somebody was with me. They came back with, "Here you go, Ron. Drink this orange juice."
Right, I need your sugars up.
Yeah, and then you gonna eat something because they know I didn't eat, which is true. I'm not
And I'm
gonna.
sure since you don't sit still, you burned everything
Yeah,
off.
yeah. I'll be the first to say I didn't eat, and because I'm too busy getting things done. But I'm changing that. I'm forcing myself to eat breakfast in the morning, to eat lunch. I'm
Yeah.
forcing myself to do this, and I'll be eating, and I don't want. I said, "Boy, you better finish eating that."
Right. This has a purpose.
Yeah, I
You're
said,
purposely
I be talking to myself, "Boy, you better hurry up and eat that." My wife said, "Who you talking to?" I'm talking to
this,
myself.
this is for this afternoon rush. Okay, let me get this in here. You know
But
what? See now, look. I'm the person. I'm always encouraging for the
mhm,
most part. When you say I may be a butt. I'm like, you don't have to walk around with a disclaimer and telling people this warning. But at the same time, you know what? Because I don't know if it's just because my vision is poor that my ears look really, really good. But
mhm,
when you say that I'm a butt, it looks one way as if you're giving them a disclaimer and a warning that may have something negative. But for real, you being a butt, do you know what the butt does for your body? It keeps you balanced. It gives you a cushion when you need to rest. There's
mhm,
a whole purpose in a butt, so it's not even a problem. You being a butt, I'm sure you're giving someone cushion as they need somewhere to rest. You are providing balance because you're giving them nothing but the truth. Sometimes it may stink, it might be bad, but I'm telling you, there's a whole
mhm.
purpose and the reason, so just accept it. It comes along with the package. And
Yeah.
so I think that you being a butt, it's not so bad.
Boy,
Not so bad.
what time is it? Oh, we went over a couple minutes, but that's okay. But like when we first talked, you said something to me. I said, "Look here, Penny, I ain't gonna lie to you. I tell it like it is. I don't sugarcoat anything. You know, if I said
Mhm.
something that hurt your feelings, let me know. I'll apologize. But whatever I say, it comes out, and 99.9% when I say it, I meant it. But I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm not going to talk down to you. I was going to tell you like it is. If you take it that way, then it's on you. That's just
Hey, look,
me.
it's true. Hey, look, it's true. I just showed up. I didn't know how you were going to take it. Whatever, hey, look, whatever issues I stimulated in this conversation, I am sorry that you got triggered, but I meant what I said.
And
I meant what I
sometimes I go back to grandma's what they say. Sometimes you say something, it's the truth, and the truth hurts.
Hey, look, it is what it is. So now what? I said
Mm-hmm.
it. It hurt your feelings. Now what? Either we're going to continue this conversation or you're going to stop talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, Wednesday's coming tomorrow, so what's next?
And you know what? 9 times out of 10 nowadays, people stop talking to you. Back in
Mm-hmm.
the days, you talked the next day and you ironed everything out once you
Mm-hmm.
slept on it. They don't do that anymore nowadays.
No, we're losing the sense of community and substance. But I'm not going to look, I'm not chasing nothing that does not want to be chased. You fight for relationships when people actually want to fight for you, when they choose you as well, when they choose to work it out. But if they don't fight and they run, Shimon, go ahead, let them go. And there's
Mm-hmm.
no sense in chasing someone who does not want to be kept at all. So if they don't call you back to work that relationship, then I guess we just broke up. Now you got some data room on your phone. Clear it out. I'm just saying, people stay in their emotions too long. Why are we
Yeah.
upset? They just did you a favor.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times God will present different situations so that you can let them go. They are blocking a blessing. They are keeping you at this level and you're supposed to be in the next. They are not supposed to go with you. Don't be in your feelings, say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Text them thank you. Okay, you don't even have to block them. Don't be messing up the Wi-Fi and the internet because you're
Yeah.
blocking everybody on your phone. Just don't answer it when it rings. Just
Mm-hmm.
saying. You continue on. Life goes on.
Yeah. Before we
And even
end,
that person, because I want to cover both people.
okay.
Let's say with that person they didn't like it and they wanted to leave. You might not be up subpar for them. Maybe you're not providing enough for their life. Maybe they didn't like what you said and it did trigger them on an emotional level. They have the option and free will to leave willingly as well. So sometimes you can't be mad because somebody set boundaries because you might be the problem, especially if multiple people break up with you. It might be you. So there's two sides to the story, but everyone gets a choice. And it
Yes.
doesn't have to be emotional. Let them continue their journey in a healthy space and you do the same.
And move on. Okay, before we end, is one thing I want to bring up. That analogy that you put out about the baby elephant. I like that part when you said tied so close. That's society today. When you said that, I thought about the black voters.
Hmm.
We still tied to that. Because,
Yeah.
well, nothing's going to happen anyway. I'm not going to do anything. And when you use that analogy, that triggered something in my mind saying, how can I turn that into talking about the blacks that don't vote?
Easy.
So you see
Okay.
that went through my mind right there because
A very interesting way for your mind to go. Elements to voting. But I love it. I'm down. I'm down.
I
I would look at that comparison and put them together. When it comes to not voting, beforehand we couldn't vote. We were told that we were stupid. We were not a whole person
mhm,
and it didn't matter. So us believing that it doesn't matter, it was instilled in us. That's what we were told to our face. It doesn't matter. But the difference is there's power in numbers and there's more than us than them. So if we actually want to make change, we can. And it doesn't
mhm,
have to be just a vote. The vote represents the thought of what you want to actually change. But there's actions that's way past the digital check mark or a piece of paper. Our people don't need to, we need to understand that that vote starts more than just in the ballot room or online. You make a decision about what you need to be changed, and then you start going after what needs to change. We start thinking about the president. He is just a face to blame when things go wrong. He has no power. We need to reintroduce how the actual system works, all the different branches, and we have to actually start voting on the levels that actually deal with us locally. The governors and our courts are the police and the mayor. We skip right over that and go to the president, and then we wonder why change didn't happen. That's because we have been conditioned to believe that that's where the power lies, and it's not true. The president is just signing off the decisions that are made for other people that look as if they're underneath him. We have to educate ourselves as a people, as a culture, on the city and on the local level, and that's where the votes and the change starts. If you don't agree with the answer, you start making change. Because guess what? They can't unsee you if you stand out front of the office. I'm just saying, if you stand out there, some things should change. The rules that are in place for engagement, they're set up accordingly with their own motives. But just because a rule says that this is what it is, does not get the final say. God gets the final say. So we just have to educate ourselves and understand that yes, your vote matters, and a vote starts with thoughts and action collectively, not a piece of paper or a ballot.
all that came from the elephant.
Who never forgets. We be remembering some stuff in our culture, don't we?
Yes, I'm gonna have to have you on again on my political show.
Hey,
I have that
understand.
too. I have that too. So we gonna get you again. All right, Mrs. Owens, we appreciate you taking time out your busy schedule because I know you are busy.
Yes, as soon as we get on, I'm going to the school to go grab my children for an eye appointment.
There you go. You go ahead and do that. Once again, thank you for coming on board, and I look forward in working with you in the near future.
Thank you for having me. This is a pleasure. I look forward to being a frequent flyer.
Okay, you take care.
You have a good one too.
All right, you too. Okay, bye.
Recording stop.
All right, everybody. That was Miss Pennie Owens on WSAN Radio. We appreciate her time being on. That really means a lot of everything that we're doing right now. This is Ronald Gordon or DJ Ron G on WSAN Radio. Until tomorrow morning, bright and early at 7 a.m. for the Ron G Wednesday morning show. Peace.